Whether you're resawing thick boards or making tight curved cuts, your bandsaw setup is crucial. These are 5 setup mistakes that can ruin your cuts.
So the first thing we want to get right is blade tension. Too little tension causes wandering cuts, while too much tension puts unnecessary stress on the saw. A simple way to get close is the deflection test. With the saw unplugged, press on the side of the blade just under the upper wheel. You're looking for roughly a 1/4 inch of deflection. That gets you in the ballpark, but it's not very accurate because it depends on how hard you're pressing. So what I like to do after that is fine-tune the tension using the flutter method. For this part, you want to make sure the guides are completely backed off, the insert is removed, and the doors are closed. Turn the saw on and slowly start reducing tension until the blade begins to flutter. Once you see the flutter, slowly start to bring the tension back up until the fluttering stops. Then give the tension knob one more half turn, and now your blade should be properly tensioned. The next thing we want to get right is where the blade is tracking on the wheel. Before setting the tracking, you want to make sure the guides are completely backed off and your bandsaw is unplugged. The side guides shouldn't be touching the blade, and the thrust bearing behind the blade should be completely pulled back. Instead of centering the blade on the tire, you want the deepest part of the gullet running near the center of the wheel. That's the method popularized by Alex Snodgrass, and it's what I use on both of my saws. It keeps the blade stable and makes your cuts much more predictable. On most bandsaws, you make this adjustment with a tracking knob on the back of the upper wheel. Depending on the saw, that might be a simple thumb screw or a larger knob, but they all do the same thing. Turning it one way moves the blade toward the back of the wheel, and turning it the other way brings it forward. You want to turn the wheel by hand while making small adjustments until the gullet settles into the right position. On some saws, this adjustment can be a little stiff, so small turns make a big difference. And don't worry too much about where the blade sits on the bottom wheel. Tracking is controlled from the upper wheel, and once that's set correctly, the bottom wheel will take care of itself. Now, if you're running a very wide blade for resawing, it might not be possible to get the gullet perfectly centered. In that case, just get it as close as you can while keeping the blade riding comfortably on the tire. With the tension and tracking set, the next thing to do is dial in the guides. Start with the side guides. Bring them in so that they sit just behind the gullet of the blade. You never want the teeth hitting the guides. If they do, you can damage the set of the teeth, and once that happens, the blade won't cut straight. That's one of the most common causes of blade drift. Once they're behind the teeth, bring the side guides in close, but not tight. You should be able to see a little bit of daylight between the blade and the guides. Different bandsaws use different styles of guides. Some use bearings, and others use ceramic block-style guides. The adjustment method varies a little from saw to saw, but the setup is the same. Next is the thrust bearing behind the blade. Bring it in close, but not touching. It shouldn't spin when the saw is idle, but it should gauge immediately once you start cutting. And don't forget about the lower guides. They get set the exact same way. When your blade tension is set correctly, your tracking is dialed in, and the guides are adjusted properly, your bandsaw becomes a lot easier to control and your cuts get much more predictable. Even with a perfectly set up bandsaw, the wrong blade will still give you bad results. Two things that matter most when choosing a blade is the width and the number of teeth. Blades with more teeth will give you a smoother cut, but they don't clear sawdust very well. That's fine for thinner stock, but once you start cutting thicker material, those small gullets will fill up fast. When that happens, the blade heats up, the cut slows down, and you can start to see burning or rough cuts. For thicker cuts or resawing, you want fewer teeth per inch. Fewer teeth mean deeper gullets, and those gullets carry the sawdust out of the cut much quicker. Most of the bandsaw boxes that I make start around 3 inches thick, so I tend to use lower tooth count blades that can clear material more efficiently. The other big factor is blade width. Narrow blades can cut tighter curves. Wider blades track straighter and work better for resawing or long straight cuts. For most of my bandsaw box work, I use a 3/16 inch blade with 4 teeth per inch. That configuration lets me cut tight curves cleanly and still handle thicker stock. Even with the right blade and a good setup, if your table isn't square to the blade, your cuts won't be square either. You can use a machinist square or a digital angle finder, but there's a simple way to check using nothing more than a scrap board. Make a straight cut into the face of a board, then flip that board around and bring the back of the blade into the kerf you just made. If the back of the blade slides cleanly into that cut, your table is square. If it doesn't, adjust the table until it does. I make a lot of bandsaw projects and creative builds here, so if that's your thing, consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.